The deserts of North Africa, 1941. Heat waves shimmering over the sand. Here, a battle raged that is counted among history's most complex and chaotic military operations due to its bewildering decisions, unexpected twists, and unparalleled bravery. This is Operation Crusader, the operation launched by British forces to relieve the besieged garrison of Tobruk and defeat Rommel's Afrika Korps in the vast Sahara. In today's documentary, we will examine every aspect of this battle in detail. Lasting from November 18th to December 30th, 1941, this battle continues to baffle historians today because of its intricate strategies, fluctuating manpower, and astonishing turning points. To understand Operation Crusader, we must take a step back. At the beginning of 1941, the German Afrika Corps, under the command of General Erwin Rommel, entered North Africa. Their rapid advance pushed British forces back to the Egyptian border. During this retreat, the Australian 9th Division and other Allied forces held the port of Tobruk, which soon came under a 7-month siege. The significance of Tobruk was immense. It was not just a port, but a British stronghold deep in the desert. If Tobruk fell, the entire North African campaign could have been lost to Rommel. British Commander-in-Chief General Claude Auchinleck decided that the time had come to break this siege. Thus, Operation Crusader was planned. The core plan of Operation Crusader was for the British 8th Army, commanded by Lieutenant General Cunningham, to advance in two main thrusts. The XXX Corps, which included the 7th Armored Division, would move westward to advance towards Tobruk. Its objective was to engage and tie down Rommel's armored forces. On the other flank, the 3 Corps, comprising the New Zealand Division and the 4th Indian Division, would execute a wide outflanking maneuver from the southeast to threaten the enemy supply lines. This plan was meant to lead to a massive tank battle where the British forces, who had numerical superiority, could decisively defeat Rommel. But as often happens, the battlefield had a completely different story to tell. On the morning of November 18, 1941, the British 8th Army launched its attack. In the first 2 days, British forces encountered little resistance. The 7th Armored Brigade advanced rapidly and captured the Sidi Rezegh airfield and surrounding high ground. This position was strategically important, located just a few kilometers south of Tobruk. But this is where the confusion began. The 22nd Armored Brigade was stopped at Bir el Gubi by the Italian Ariete Division. They had not expected such strong resistance according to British strategy. Meanwhile, the 4th Armored Brigade encountered the 21st Panzer Division. German tanks inflicted heavy losses on the British tanks. The biggest mistake here was that the British armored brigades became dispersed. On one side, the 22nd Brigade was engaged with the Ariete Division. The 7th Brigade was moving toward Tobruk, and the 4th Brigade was engaged in battle with German tanks. Cunningham's plan had intended for all British tanks to concentrate and defeat Rommel, but operationally this simply did not happen. On November 24th, Rommel took a daring gamble. He concentrated his 2 Panzer divisions and launched a rapid thrust toward the Egyptian border. This became known as the dash to the wire. Rommel's strategy was straightforward: cut off the British supply lines and force them to withdraw from the battlefield. This attack completely bewildered the British command. New Zealand formations in the area suffered severe losses during this phase of the operation, with some units being overrun and many soldiers taken prisoner in the chaos of the German advance. General Cunningham, who was then commander of the 8th Army, saw the situation as extremely dire. He suggested to Auchinleck that the battle be called off and the army retreat back to Egypt. But Auchinleck's decision was different. He relieved Cunningham of command around November 26th, appointing General Neil Ritchie as the new commander, and issued a firm order: continue the fight. Auchinleck's decision completely changed the course of the battle. Rommel's dash to the wire, though bold and audacious, had severely stretched his supply lines. German forces were running critically low on fuel and supplies, while British attacks continued relentlessly. On November 27th, British and New Zealand forces broke through to Tobruk, establishing contact with the besieged garrison and effectively relieving the 7-month siege. 7 months of siege had finally come to an end. Rommel's armored forces had been severely depleted, and with fuel and supplies running critically low, he was forced to withdraw toward El Agheila. It was a major Allied victory in the North African campaign, but it came at a terribly heavy cost. When Operation Crusader concluded on December 30th, 1941, the statistics were staggering. British and Commonwealth forces suffered over 17,000 casualties, including killed, wounded, and missing. The New Zealand Division alone endured 879 killed and approximately 1,700 wounded, making it their costliest battle of the war. German and Italian forces also suffered heavy losses, with thousands of casualties and hundreds of tanks and transport vehicles destroyed or damaged. Though the Allies had achieved their primary objective, the victory was far from clean. The fighting had been brutal, confused, and costly for both sides. Why is Operation Crusader considered one of the most confusing and chaotic operations of the North African campaign? Because success and failure existed side by side. The British forces achieved their strategic objective, yet their tank combat tactics were often flawed and disjointed. Rommel ultimately retreated, yet he demonstrated his exceptional military brilliance throughout the operation. This battle proves that on the battlefield, it is not just strength that matters, but strategy, timely decisions, and leadership under extreme pressure. Operation Crusader remains an enigma for historians today. It was not just a battle, but a clash of two entirely different styles of warfare. Fought in one of the harshest environments on Earth, in the annals of history, Operation Crusader remains a chapter that teaches us the profound complexities of war.